Well, hello there. I didn't see you. I was actually rushing to talk to you about this week's topic, and that is participatory culture. Now, what is participatory culture? Well, this term was created by Henry Jenkins. So, according to him, a participatory culture is a culture with relatively low barriers to artistic expression and civic engagement. Now, I know that is a whole load of words, very bombastic way of saying, but I'll try to break it down to you. So, let me go to my drawing board. Now, just to repeat what he said, a participatory culture is a culture with relatively low barriers to artistic expression and civic engagement. Now, what does this mean? What lies beneath these words? Well, to break it down for y'all, low barriers, or like with relatively low barriers. Low barriers would mean it is easy to join. Now, it is easy to join, and that is to participate in something. Again, we are talking about participatory culture here. So, the key word is participate. And if you want to participate, it's easy. You like it can be in the media as well. You can participate in live stream. You can participate in having a conversation with other people, like chat with people. Join an event in game, or um, or participate challenges from the creator. Like going back to Warframe, if you recall, I mentioned there are these like weekly challenges. That is basically you participating in those challenges given by the developer. And it doesn't have to be in digital media as well, it can also be in physical media. So, uh, basically, like real life events like a blood donation, it can be a talent competition, or it can be a food bazaar. So that is what low barriers mean. It is easy to join. Now we understand what is the meaning of low barriers, which is easy to join anywhere. How about the next one, which is artistic expression? Now, what is the meaning of artistic expression? Well, it's already in the name. Expressing your art, expressing what you create. So, basically, to put it in perspective, uploading a video. A video is also a form of art. A picture is also a form of art. Music, memes, or you create games. So it can be anything. To put it more simply, let's say, like going back to Warframe, an artistic expression would be recording yourself while doing those challenges, recording it for YouTube, you upload it for YouTube. Or you can also, in terms of real life, you can record the food bazaar. You can take a picture of the food and send it to social media. So basically, you can create anything. And just like this video, I can do whatever I want with it. I can either record myself talking about participatory culture, or I can turn into a pencil, or I can turn into a bunny talking about participatory culture. The sky is the limit, and there is nothing stopping you from trying to express yourself. Okay, now how do I turn back into a human? Oh, okay, so that is the meaning of artistic expression. You can do anything you want. So, how about civic engagement? Now, civic engagement basically means the public. When you're in the media, let's take social media, when you post something, everyone can see it. So it is the public. It is also, another term would be society, and a more fitting term that encapsulates all of those, like encapsulates all of the words that I just discussed about is community. Community is one of the best way to describe participatory culture. So just to give an example is the YouTube community tab. Now, if you go to YouTube, you can actually find a community tab somewhere around here. It's over, yeah, over there. So it says visit community. And with this, if you press that button, you can actually see all the people who are supporting the creator, being a part of the community where they can express themselves. They can also post pictures, they can post image, they can create anything, they can write poems in the community. And it is easy to join. It is easy to join, it is open to the public, you can post anything. So that is what the community tab for in YouTube. Now, before we continue, I'm going to introduce you guys a theory, and that is called the pathetic dot theory by Lawrence Lessig. So, what is the pathetic dot theory? Well, to visualize it, there's a dot in the middle, and there's these four regulators. So these are called regulators. And what are those four regulators? Well, they are, first is the market, and second is the law, the architecture, and social norms. So these are the four regulators. And what about the dot? What does the dot represent? The pathetic dot. Well, that dot represents us who is navigating through the media. This theory explains how humans behave and is getting influenced by these four key aspects. It is how these aspects pushes the choice that humans make. Now, it may seem overwhelming, but try to bear with me here. I will go through step by step. So, the first out of the four regulator that I will be explaining is the market. Now, what is the market? Well, the market is pretty straightforward. It is the online shopping. It is where streaming services comes through. If you want to watch movies through streaming services, you need to pay up. You need to pay for a monthly subscription in order to watch a certain movie in a certain streaming platform. And secondly is the law. So now, what is the law? Well, it is the law. For example, the law says if you were to download movies for free without having to pay the streaming services, you will be fined or you will be jailed. I don't do that. I never do that. So that is why we must follow the law. Do something bad equals consequences from the law. I don't do that. I'm a proud citizen of the law. Yeah. Now, the third regulator would be social norm. Now, what is social norm? To put an example would be shouting spoilers in the theater is not accepted by everyone. But the law says otherwise, or the law doesn't say anything regarding can or cannot shout spoilers. So this it is basically like a law made by the people, not the country itself. It is people's expectation of someone of or something. So this is what social norms means. Now, the fourth one is the architecture. So the architecture, it simply means the walls and doors of the internet. Let's say that going back to the streaming services, the architecture of streaming services is if you don't pay, you cannot watch movies from that streaming services. So the door for you is locked. There is no way in, unless if you find a way, unless if you find a back door where you secretly can watch those movies. Anyway, I'm basically saying it is the walls of the internet. Try to imagine the internet as a building. Sometimes we cannot do a certain actions unless if we go to a certain place. Now, if you are still clueless on what is architecture in terms of the media, I'll use an example, which is Ren, as the main example for this video. Now, Ren is probably right now is one of my most favorite music artists out there. So I will use his channel, his YouTube channel, as an example to explain the four regulators and the pathetic dot theory. So the first regulator that I will use is the market. How do I connect the market to Ren's channel? Well, as you can see, Ren has his own online store called Ren Store, and it is a store where you can buy like merch. You can buy any like attire and like shirts for his audience. Like his audience can buy it. And secondly, there's the social norms. So social norms would be the audience. People expect a good music video every time he uploads. So that's the social norm that everyone expects, like people's expectations. And next is the architecture. So here is where I will explain the architecture. If you want to like his video, the audience needs to click that video in order for the like button to appear. So if you want to like a video, you need to click that video in order for that like button to appear. So this is architecture. You cannot do a certain action unless you go to that place. Okay, now finally, how about the law? Well, the law would be the audience. The audience cannot steal and profit from Ren's video for their own. Let's say they are downloading Ren's video and they are uploading it to YouTube and is gaining profit. That is copyright. They will face copyright. They will face consequences. So that is the law for Ren's YouTube channel. Now, with that in mind, therefore, all of the four regulators requires each other in order to operate. And you may be wondering, how so? How does the four regulator connects to each other? Before I continue, going back to the pathetic dot theory, the visualization of the pathetic dot, if you were to remove the four regulators from the pathetic dot theory, the dot, which represents us, has nothing to do. Nothing controls the dot. And if you remove the dot, which is us, if you remove the dot, the four key aspects becomes useless, because all of these aspects and the dot all connects to each other. It requires each other. Without the dot, the four regulators are useless. Without the four regulators, the dot has nothing to do, or like nothing controls them. Now, how do I connect it with Ren's channel? Okay, let's start with the perspective of Ren. If you were to remove one of the regulators, let's say I am going to remove the law. I'm going to remove the law, which is one of the four regulators in the theory. If I were to remove the law, Ren will lose profit because audience can steal his video and make profit of their own. There's no law, so they can do whatever they want. So with this, Ren only profit is from the market. He can only profit from the market. But what happens if you remove the market? Ren, he would lose all of his profit altogether, and this will lead to like Ren, assuming this is what will happen, losing like motivation to create videos because there's no profit. How would he survive? So unless if he has like other outside work, anyway, Ren would lose his motivation. no profit, and therefore Ren would not go through the architecture. Now, what is the architecture here? The architecture here would represent the process of uploading a music video, which is YouTube. The architecture is the YouTube, the social media. If you want to upload a video, you would need to go through a process. You cannot just straight like teleport your video. You cannot just make your video appear on YouTube without having to go through a process. So this is the architecture, the things that influence the choices of human. But Ren doesn't have to go through that because he lost his profit. There's no motivation to create another video. Therefore, he won't have to go through the architecture. And how about the social norms? Well, the social norms would be from the perspective of his audience. His audience expects no video from him anymore due to all the previous incidents. So everyone understands what happened, and they understand, and they would expect there will be no videos anymore. So with this, almost as if these four key aspects is what keeps everything moving, is what keeps everything together. Without one of them, everything will fall apart. Everything will crumble down into chaos. So it is like a control to the chaos, like order to the chaos. So these are what the four regulators are. So that is the topic for this week's video. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that you enjoyed my examples of Ren, and I hope that you learned something as well. And I hope that this video, these theories, like changes your view on the media, on the internet, because it certainly did for me. Because it really felt like it really felt like I was entering into Lawrence Lessig's mind. I was like, how, I even like told myself, how did he even came up with this? It's crazy. It's a lot of imagination, and it kind of fits everything. It is still relevant to, and even to this day. And that's why I like about this theory, because it connects to each other as well. So with this, I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you have a good day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.